British conservative talk radio host Mike Graham brought on a climate activist to discuss recent protests that shut down British roadways. Now, the host here thought that he was gonna pull a fast one on the climate activist, but it didn't work out so well. Let's watch.
Morning, Mike.
Oh, hello. What are you glued to, Cameron?
Just your screen, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. What do you do for a living, Cameron?
I'm a carpenter.
A carpenter, right. So how safe is that for the climate?
Well, I work with timber, which is a much more sustainable material rather than concrete. I also
But you work with trees that have been cut down then, don't you?
It's a sustainable building practice.
How is it sustainable if you're killing trees?
Because it's regenerative, you can grow trees.
Right. Well, you can grow all sorts of things, can't you?
Well, you can't grow concrete.
You can. See you, Cameron. Cheerio. That was Cameron. He grows trees and then cuts them down and then makes things from them. Brilliant, marvelous. I don't think I ever want to talk to any of those people.
That was amazing. No, I mean, look, the British have a classier way of embarrassing themselves, right?
Congratulations to them.
But you're still embarrassing yourself. And I love the way Cameron the carpenter, even if I know nothing about him other than his name and that he's a carpenter, like I already love him. But my favorite part was when the radio host is like, yeah, you can. You can grow concrete. And he's just like, I'm not even gonna entertain that. I'm not even gonna answer it.
Yeah, that's what made it so wonderfully awkward.
So good.
When he just like looked at him like,
look at his face.
like, if you say so, brother, it's your funeral. Keep going if you like. So he said, the host said at the end, I don't even want to talk to these people. Then why'd you bring him on? He was your guest. And if you're wondering who started the hostilities, that was the whole interview, by the way. It was under a minute. You're not missing anything. We didn't cut it out. It's not edited, okay? And he said in the beginning, what are you glued to now? Because climate protesters in the UK are gluing themselves to the roads sometimes and other things to block the highways, etc., to make a point. And so that's why he started out by attacking him. And that's why the Cameron the carpenter was like, to your set, unfortunately. And then the guy takes offense. What are you taking offense for? You're the one who started the fight. And that's true of conservatives everywhere. They'll start a fight, and then the minute you push back a little bit, they're like, oh, I'm the victim, I'm the victim. Well, grow some concrete and some balls and and actually have a logical argument. But isn't it interesting, guys, that all across the world, conservatives are all over the media? Because corporations that have a lot of money wind up putting a lot of conservatives on air to tell you how great corporations are.
Yeah, so I'm actually really grateful for that exchange, not only because it was entertaining and fun to watch, but because I don't know everything. So I actually had never thought about sustainable materials for building, right? Like, of course I've thought about it, but not in this context. And so I think that, for people who don't want to research it and you just ask them, what's the best way to build buildings or whatever, I get it. Like the idea of cutting down trees might seem counterintuitive to people. So this exchange made me want to look into it more. I'm like, oh, timber. He says he uses timber. I want to know if that's really a more sustainable material. So let me give you the details of what we learned, okay? So concrete actually is not the most sustainable material to use. Living concrete made from, by the way, after the exchange, the host posted this: living concrete made from bacteria used to create replicating bricks.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Totally.
That's how most concrete is made, yeah.
And
can I just say real quick, the host is the one who put up the clip in the first place, thinking he got Cameron. And when he was shocked to find out the rest of the world was like, you fool. So he's like, oh yeah, you can grow concrete with bacteria.
Yeah, but that's not usually the concrete that's being used for building materials, right? So here's how concrete is really made. And again, I had never thought about this before. So if you don't know this stuff, it's okay to admit it. Don't be a pompous moron like that guy. Concrete is a mixture of two components, aggregate and paste. The paste is made up of Portland cement and water, which then binds with sand, gravel, or crushed stone. Okay, so that's not a renewable thing, right? So that's why it's not as sustainable as timber. Now, what's up with timber, right? What is up with timber? Well, wood is versatile, organic, and it is renewable. Yes, it's regenerative, as mentioned by Cameron in that interview. Also, a new way of using wood has put the material back in the spotlight. The hype is focused on structural timber, or as it's more popularly known, mass timber, short for massive timber. In a nutshell, it involves sticking pieces of softwood, generally wood like pine, spruce, or fir, but also species such as birch, ash, or beech together to form larger pieces. And so it's just really interesting because not only is it more sustainable, but combining those types of woods happens to make the structure stronger and more sound. So I thought that was really fascinating stuff.
Yeah. So look, I'm familiar with massive timber.
Oh, are you?
Okay. But I should have known that you. I should have known that you were gonna love this story, not just for the own, but for the wood.
Totally.
Because Craig and I were joking around before the show. We have a new wooden thing out there, bench or whatever. I'm like, did Anna build it? Because you love woodwork, right? But I want to say one last thing about the interview. Look, I don't know if the British have, it feels like their average bloke's a little bit smarter than ours here in America. Okay, it's probably not the case, but
I think it's probably the case.
But it feels that way. And mainly it's a comment about America than it is more about the UK. But the point is that he underestimated him. He thought, I'm such a clever talk show host, and I'm gonna bring on this average guy, and I'm gonna steamroll him. Well, no, you're not anywhere near as smart as you thought you were, and don't underestimate carpenters.
Yes.
I know 2 other carpenters, actually now 3. You're kind of a carpenter.
No, I'm
with
not.
Your woodwork.
I would never dare take on that label.
Okay,
I don't
fair
deserve
enough.
it.
She's an amateur carpenter.
I'm an amateur, yes.
Okay, but there are 2 professional carpenters that were also underestimated. One of them is Bernie Sanders, who was a carpenter earlier in his life, and the other is a guy named Jesus. Okay. And he seemed to change the world a little bit, and he was also underestimated.
Yep.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.